It's impossible to live without regrets, although it is worth trying to minimize them by considering what you value and what you might feel like you missed out on and taking more risks than you might be used to. But since it's completely impossible to remove the possibility of regret, one way to minimize the cost of regret is to turn mistakes and regrets into learnable moments and consider how the mistake and the harm could be transformed into something positive. Once you know that you've learned something from it, you've improved in some way, then it's no longer purely a mistake. It becomes something that holds value for the future, which means that it might even save you more in the long run to have made that mistake early on than to have never made it at all and then potentially make it when it's much more expensive down the road. This is also why regrets and mistakes aren't necessarily bad things to make, and it can be good to have them early on when the cost is relatively low, which is also why it's good to take risks when you have less to lose. Once you have more to lose, every risk and mistake can cost you significantly more. So don't look at mistakes and regrets as negative things. Look at them as opportunities to learn something that will be an investment. So think of these as investments in your future and your long term knowledge and your skills. And that completely transforms the way that you go about things. You're willing to take more risks, you're willing to risk mistakes, knowing that it's worth it. And you realize that mistakes are inevitable. There's no way to prevent them, but there is a way to make them something positive and thus worth having.